Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. In our first story, we tell you how being nice to people can work out in your favor. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Sorry, ma'am, we have to cut the same size for everyone. Every Thursday morning, my nearby grocery store has a great deal for a prime rib dinner with potatoes and vegetable for $9.99. A lot of people come out to get it, and there are usually lines from the carving stand into the produce section of the store, usually about 5 to 6 people deep at a time, sometimes longer. Tonight I was feeling lazy and didn't want to make dinner, and I realized it was prime rib night, so I made my way over to the store and got in line behind 2 other people. An older guy on his own right in front of me, and an older woman who just oozed suburban entitlement and annoying customer vibes. We'll call her Entitled Suburbanite, or ES for short. And true to form, she's up there ordering 4 boxes of prime rib for her and her family, and taking her sweet butt time looking at each and every piece of prime rib the carving guy has up on the cutting board, and trying to make up her mind about the doneness on each one, all while the line builds behind her. This has carving guy a bit exasperated because now the line is up to about 9 people who are all watching this unfold and becoming increasingly antsy. She gets 3 out of her 4 boxes, then all of a sudden decides that not only does she want the perfect medium rare piece for her husband, but then proceeds further yet. P.S. Is there any chance that you could cut off a slightly bigger piece on this one? It's for my husband, and I want to treat him tonight. C.G. I'm sorry, ma'am, we have to cut the same size for everyone. E.S. Are you sure you can't just make it a bit bigger? C.G. Sorry, I can't. Is that all for you tonight? E.S. Fine then. Yes, that's it. She moves to the side to grab au jus and horseradish. C.G. then goes to help the guy in front of me and is getting down to the last couple of slices of that piece of prime rib and cuts him the same size piece as the rest have previously been, about an inch thick, leaving one larger than normal piece of prime rib, probably just under 2 inches left on the counter. As ES grabs her sauces, I saunter up and say, Hi, how you doing tonight? I just need 1 portion for myself, please and thanks. CG looks at me, smiles, looks back at ES, then back at me. Want the big piece? And of course I accepted and thanked him politely while ES's face transformed into an unseemly and bitter cat butt pucker. And that's how I came to feast on a twice as large as normal piece of prime rib and heaping piles of sides tonight, whilst at the same time helping the carving dude dish up a portion of delicious petty revenge. And our next story. Give me a hard time when I'm serving you and your friends? Okay. Years ago, I worked at a busy corporate sit-down burger restaurant. One day, I'm hustling through the lunch rush and have 6 college guys sit down. One guy flags me over and loudly pronounces that they're ready to order right away. What are you guys having, I ask. Guys, the same guy says with a smirk on his face. Guys, that doesn't sound like a very professional greeting to me. I work at a restaurant too, and if I walked up to a table and asked, What are you guys having? My manager would definitely let me know that was inappropriate. The other guys at the table look kind of uncomfortable at this exchange and just silently sit there. The main guy looks around at all of them and keeps going. Why don't you come up to us again and do it right? At this point, I'm looking around at my massive section of tables and getting the distinct feeling I'm going to be at this table forever. I'm trying not to lose my cool, so I smile. Sure, I say. I take several steps back and walk up again. Gentlemen, how are you all doing? Ready to order? The main guy smirks and nods. I look directly at him. How about you, Chief? What are you having today? Some of the other guys laugh. He looks angrily at me but orders his burger and a drink. I get everyone's order and hustle off. I return with drinks a little while later. I set everyone's drinks down and do the main guy's last. Here you go, boss. I leave before he can say anything. Through the course of their meal, I call him a different nickname every time. You need a refill, pal? How's your burger, buddy? Need more ketchup, bro? Can I get that plate out of your way, dude? Any dessert for you, amigo? Need me to split your check, brother? Make sure to leave me 1 signed copy, muchacho. So by this time, this guy's boiling. His friends are loving it, though. As time's gone on, the rest of them keep looking at me expectantly. What nickname next? Finally, they all get up to leave. Lunch rush is ended, and I'm chilling at this point. I casually walk up to them. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. The rest of the group is smiling. I look at the main guy. And you. You have a fantastic day, Haas. The rest of the guys cheer. They all head out. I grab their receipts on the table. Surprise, surprise. The main guy left me $0 for a tip. I didn't care. It was all worth it. And our last story. Horrible neighbors get what they deserve. This happened when I was around 12 or 13, so the details might be a little skewed. Most of my childhood, the house right next to ours had been condemned and abandoned. The property owners were willing to sell the land for $200. That's how bad it was. My family didn't buy it because the land tax in our area is high because we're a school of choice. Eventually, someone bought it and threw a manufactured home on it to replace the condemned home. Soon, a nice old man moved in next door, and we didn't pay too close attention because he kept to himself. That was until his daughter moved in with him. Soon, our quiet little neighborhood turned into an episode of white trash and trouble. The daughter would fight with her spouse about every little thing and keep my family, along with our neighbors, up half the night. Their kids were the worst part of all. We never knew how many kids lived in that house because so many different children and adults were in and out of there all the time. Me and my siblings tried to become friends with them because there are not too many kids our age in the town. We ended up being more of their babysitters than just a friendly neighbor kid. They would come over to our house, and each of my siblings had a group of kids, 3 or 4 each, to watch over. These kids would walk in uninvited into our house while we would play with their siblings in the yard, then steal toys or games from our rooms. Honestly, they stole stuff from all over our house, but this wasn't the main areas. They would either take it for themselves or throw it in our backyard river. They did that a lot if we made them mad for taking our stuff back. They would constantly run in and out of the house, even if no one was with them. They would steal all of the fruit in the basket my mom left for us. My mom didn't kick them out immediately because she never wanted to deny a kid food if they need it. My mom confronted the parents about their behavior, and their 3-year-old son called her a bee. The parents refused to apologize for their behavior, saying stuff like, "If you loved it so much, you wouldn't have let them take it," or "Don't parent my kid." One thing they would specifically do with me is they pulled on my hair all the time. I'm a tomboy, and they would just call me a boy in a wig because girls can't play with skateboards, girls can't play with ninja action figures, or any other gender stereotype. They would constantly bombard me because they truly didn't know girls were allowed to play with anything they wanted. One of their heavier children stole my skateboard and jumped on it, breaking it in half. Similar to that, so no head, Vine. Then they said I shouldn't have been playing with one anyway. There are plenty more examples, but I think you get the point. The neighbors decided that because our house was nicer, that they had permission to run an electrical line from our backyard plugs to their house, which in itself is a bad thing, but they decided to run off our electric bill to triple the cost of our original. We were lower middle class / below poverty level, so we couldn't afford that kind of bill. The rule in our house is if you're not using it, it's turned off. That's why my parents were awfully surprised to see an $800 electric bill. Eventually, a person from our electric company came out to our house to see what was happening. They found an extension cord running to their house. The electrician simply unplugged it, then warned the neighbors of the legal reasons why they can't do that, then said that should be the end of the problem. My mom politely but sternly went to the neighbors that this was not okay. The neighbor had a small adult tantrum about it and cussed my mom out, but eventually came back into her home. My mom was obviously not pleased with their behavior, but tried not to escalate the situation any further. Our neighbors tried 1 or 2 more times to run the line from our house to theirs. They would move it at night so we wouldn't see them move it. Each time when we unplugged it, they would cuss us out and send their kids over to destroy something else in our home. Eventually, Mom straight up told them if they come on our property again, she would call the police and press charges. We could still be friends with their kids, but they weren't allowed on our land. They decided that because we wouldn't let them use our electricity, that the next best option was to steal our dog from the backyard and claim our dog attacked her kids, even though our dog was harmless and cowers at everything due to bad owners before us. I'm guessing because our dog liked to rip her tags off a lot that the neighbors said she was a stray. That attacked them. The pound came and took our puppo away. By the time my brothers and I got home, she was already gone. We just assumed she ran off to our grandmother's who lived down the street. She would do this often because my grandma spoils her. When my parents came home, they about lost it, learning our dog was missing. We obviously looked for her but couldn't find her. After 2 days, we found her at the pound. The officer said it was obvious that our dog didn't hurt their kids, but they still had to take her in for an evaluation. My parents had to spend $200 to get her out. The pound told us why the dog was taken, and my mom said enough was enough. Now the revenge. When my mom got home, she sent my little brother over to their house to play with their kids. He was still friends with some of them at the time. My brother became a little spy that day. His job was to look around their house and report anything that could be suspicious. We learned from him that they were sitting 3 kids to a twin bed. The entire house was cramped and dirty. The old man that lived there was hardly home because he couldn't stand his adult daughter that lived there, but he didn't want to evict her from the home and leave his grandkids homeless. All around, the kids were being neglected. With the information my brother gathered, my mom called CPS, Child Protective Services, on the home. Within the month, all of the children, minus one, who the old man cared for, were removed from the home. While I agree the foster system is bad, it was definitely better than what they were going through in that house. The mother of the children started to fight with the old man, her father, on everything because her kids were no longer there as a distraction. The old man was to be her next victim. The old man eventually was fed up with her and kicked her out of the home. All that was left in the home was the old man and the grandson he was fostering. They're both very kind and amazing neighbors. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.